afternoon. My name is Shawn Simmons. I'll be Business 343 project, case 6, question 1. I'll be taking the role as the Director of HR for Saga Foods. The points I'll be speaking about will be the Union Holiday Pay Provision, Article 7, Section 703. The Union Agreed Leave of Absence Provision, Article 23. We will touch on that. The employee, John Arnett, and his action of calling in for a personal day, and following the protocols and standards set by the union and by Saga Foods. Also will be the union filed grievance, the plan of action that I will recommend to the company, and of course the conclusion to close it all up. Article 7 states that the holiday pay will be given when an employee works a day before or a day after. The only exception to that is if they call in they're sick or injury, which John was neither sick nor John was injured. He did not work the day after. It was a personal day. Furthermore, it states that if the day taken prior, I've just mentioned this, it has to be a sick or an injured day. John Arnett's was neither. Balance.com states that there's no federal law in place that even requires an employee to pay or employer to pay an employee for a federally recognized, nationally recognized holidays. Also, both John and the union had agreed on this in the CBA, so they had to be aware of the situation going on and the laws. If this was go to arbitration, the arbitration would probably rule in favor of Saga Foods because our practices have been past practices and they have not changed. And this is from labornotes.org. On Article 23, which is the 4 days that are given for personal days, he clearly used one of those, but again, it was for a personal day, and that's what he used it for. It was not for sick, nor was it for an injury. And he did follow the rules about the common practice, again, the past practice for Saga Foods, accepting his call-in because it was more than an hour and a half before his work time started. And it was approved by somebody that was in the factory at the time. John Arnett. Again, I'm going to touch on this again. John knew what the CBA was. He voted for the package. He can't argue that he did not understand the rules because it does not state that he was a new employee. If he needed some kind of clarification, he should have talked to the manager on duty or HR if they were there. Protocols and standards set by both Union and Saga Foods. As the HR manager, this is one of my duties, ensure that policies are followed from those protocols and standards on every day with no exceptions. If a company does exceptions to CBA policy, then they open themselves up for possible lawsuits or possible other grievances. And if we change the rules here and allow this for John, that's what we could possibly do. Again, the balance.com states that as the manager, I want to require that policies are in place and that employees will never feel as if the work environment is favoritism or an unfair treatment. If I did this for John or the company did this for John, then what are we saying here? Because there might have been other individuals that could not get paid or did not get paid for using the same kind of personal days John did. The union filed grievance. Again, the company has past practices. Whether they're in the CBA or not, they are listed past practices. So they don't really have, the union doesn't have a good grasp or a footing to stand on this argument that he should be paid. Again, Article 7, I refer to Section 03, is in plain English. My plan of action. My plan of action is to first, if there is a misunderstanding of the CBA by the employees or the union, we need to make sure that this is taken care of now so that no other problems exist, either with this particular one or any other articles within the CBA. Also, I would probably want to go back to the bargaining table with the union and take all past practices that might not be, written in the CBA and put them in there so that, again, this does not happen in the future or open us up for any more types of grievances. My conclusion is, based on the information given in the reference material, the company's past practices were in place. John Arnett and the union don't have really the right to file a grievance, and that if they continue with it, we'll deny it and go to arbitration. Because again, as I spoke, usually the arbitrator will follow what the company does if there's a past practice in place, which this is. We give in to John Arnett, we can open ourselves up to many more grievances. Thank you very much.